the case of Kimberly Sullivan, who's married to a man. She has a stepson. At age 11, they remove him from society and confine him in a room for over 2 decades, at times getting like 1 minute in the backyard. Well, that 11-year-old grew up and is 32 years old and is only 68 pounds and figured out a way to escape. His father died, but he was still being held, allegedly, by his stepmother. So he sets a fire so people will respond and literally save him. Yes, from the fire, but really from his stepmother. Take a look at some of the video from that night when the fire was set and the emergency responders, the first responders and police came to the house and saved that young man.
Come over here, go down the road. Come on, come down, come down.
Come on, down.
Who else is in the house? Who else is in here?
My stepson is in here.
How many other people? Listen,
That's it. I have 2 cats.
Everybody's out?
Yes.
Oh, your stepson's still inside?
Yeah, he's right here.
Okay,
yes.
come out. Come down the road. Come on, come on. It's not safe to stay here. Come on.
All right, here he is. All right, my dog is shaking.
I know. Come down here. That's 287 code 33 victim. Fire victim.
Okay.
Come on.
My
80
dog
seconds
is,
right here. Come on.
my dog.
I know. Come on.
I'm coming.
You're seeing it. That one victim right here. You just stay over here.
And that night, they saved his life in more ways than one. And they didn't even realize it at the time. Unbelievable story. Well, that woman, that evil stepmother, Kimberly Sullivan, was in court today. And Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas joining us live with the latest on today's hearings. And I'm hearing there were some statements that were read today, pretty powerful statements that were read.
Absolutely, Vinnie. So today's court hearing was not only her arraignment, but it also revolved around a state's motion to modify conditions of release because she was arrested on March 12th, just about 2 weeks ago, and posted bond the following day. So she's been out freely walking around for the past 2 weeks. Now, before we get to those statements, I just want to establish what she's facing, the charges she's facing, and how much she's facing behind bars. So her charges include first-degree assault, a felony, second-degree kidnapping, a felony, first-degree unlawful restraint, another felony, cruelty to persons, and first-degree reckless endangerment, which are both misdemeanors. And in all total, Vinnie, she's facing 45 years on those 3 felonies alone, plus 2 years for both of those misdemeanors, so 47 years total. Now, back to those statements. Today, during this court appearance, the state presented statements from the victim himself and also from a friend of Kimberly Sullivan who said she didn't even know that Sullivan had a stepson. Take a listen to these statements.
This victim is afraid. This victim lives in fear. I introduced myself to the victim, explained who I was. His first question in this fear is, why is she out walking around when I was locked up in a room for 20 years? He is following this on TV and social media, so he is aware of what's happening, and I say that because it would lead to his fear. A friend of the defendants of 21 years has come forward and provided a written statement to the state, to the police, that in the 21 years she's known this defendant, she's never spoken of a stepson. She was shocked to learn she had a stepson, and that friend was never allowed in this house.
Absolutely astonishing there, Vinnie. You know somebody for 21 years and they don't even mention they have a stepson, and that's around the amount of time that he was held captive and essentially
living in the house.
In the house.
Living in their house.
And essentially the state was arguing today for the conditions of release that she be put on house arrest so she could have limited travel, also with the GPS monitor. That's pretty much what the state was arguing for today.
And how about the defense? What did they say about her remaining at large?
So the defense is pretty much saying in the past 2 weeks, she's complied with all the rules set forth by the court. She's not a flight risk. The defense also says their whole job with her is to protect her rights, and they say her rights are the only ones that matters in this particular case. Take a listen.
This is the third time we are back addressing the same issues. Bond has been set. Conditions of release have been addressed by the court. The state made essentially the same arguments on prior occasions, which were considered by the court and rejected. And I understand that the whole world wants to convict Ms. Sullivan, and the whole world already has. But this is the only place, the only room in this country where we have an opportunity to protect her rights.
So, Vinnie, that defense attorney goes on to pretty much argue that those conditions of release were already set 2 weeks ago once she was arrested, and they don't want the judge to double back on everything that was already set.
All right, well, this case moving forward, she is like public enemy number one.
Absolutely.
I mean, what this young man went through from age 11. Cody Thomas, thank you so much. We have a special guest joining us now. The biological mother of the victim in this case, Tracy Valorand, is here. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us. I know this is not easy to talk about. I know how heartbreaking all of this is, but do you know tonight how he's doing?
I don't. I do not. As long as it's an ongoing investigation, he is going to be kept private. And I know he's in a better place right now, so that's what matters.
It'd be difficult for there to be a worse place. And it's great to see that he was able to get out of there. Let's back this whole thing up. How did this happen? How was it that he somehow, the first time I covered this story, I know there were teachers at one point that were very concerned about his well-being. You're his mom. So how, from your perspective, how did all this happen to him?
His father shut me out, and then after a while, he actually shut everybody out. Now, I don't know I know when his father and myself were together, he was not a bad guy. I don't know if he was vindictful that we had split up. I don't know. I'm still trying to grasp all this, and it's really, really, really hard. When DCF was called in 2004 several times, they did nothing. They did absolutely nothing. And just because you have a clean house does not mean you have a healthy house. Parents are supposed to help their children be the best people that they can, grow into responsible adults. Not lock them in a room.
So through the years, the separation that you had from him, so what happened? Give us a little bit of the backstory of how you became separated and any efforts that you made to try to reconnect with your son.
I had some issues I was dealing with personally that have nothing to do with the Sullivans. There's just so much stuff that was happening beforehand. We started dating, and after we started dating, we got married. And 9 months later, my son was born. Well, I was still going through some of those issues at the time and trying to cope with those issues. I thought the safest place he would be was with a parent, with his father. And that didn't happen.
And if you are struggling, right, and then you know that he may be able to take care of your son, that was the right choice to make. That's the choice. That's the selfless choice that a mother makes who wants the best for their child.
So. You would think so. He was kept with monsters.
Did you ever meet Kimberly Sullivan?
I have never met her.
Now, I understand through the years you attempted to reconnect with your son.
I did.
And what happened?
Well, when he used to take my son for walks, I was told where he would take him, and I'd hang out there, and I'd wait for hours and hours. He wouldn't show up. One of my ex-brother-in-laws got a job with me, and we started talking about my son, and he's like, well, let me see if I can arrange to have him come over. So I go over there for a couple hours and never showed up. Never showed up.
How about when he became an adult, right? Because he's 32 now.
He is 32. He just turned 32.
How curious were you about how he was doing and where he was?
From the time he turned 18, we started looking for him because he should have been an adult. He should have been in school, out having a job, falling in love. He should have been able to be a person.
Tracy, when you heard this story, how long did it take for you to put the pieces together and realize that it was your son that was saved, your son that was able to escape from all of this?
My sister had called me and told me we found him. Finally found him.
Take your time, Tracy. Now, my understanding from what we heard in court is that your son may be following some of the developments of this story, maybe watching news reports like this about this story. If he's watching now, or if he watches this when it's posted online, do you have a message for your son?
I'm sorry he had to go through this. He shouldn't have had to do that ever. He shouldn't have had to deal with that. And he could have been taken out of that in 2004 if DCF did their job.
Tracy, what are your hopes and plans now for the future, now that he's escaped the torture and is recovering?
I'm so happy that he did. I want him to do whatever he wants to do. If he wants to go to school, go back to school. If you want to learn how to do something with your hands, do something that makes you happy. That's what he needs to do, is do something that makes him happy.
Well, Tracy, I know this is, and everyone at home, their hearts are breaking for your son. I know people across the nation are praying for him and are hoping for the best for him in his recovery. And I know you're there for him as well. I want to thank you for joining us, Tracy, and sharing the story, because it makes it real. And I'm wondering, as this progresses through everything, are your hopes that at some point you two may be able to share some moments together?
I would love that. I would love that.
I think you both deserve it. I think you both deserve it. Tracy, thank you so much, and we wish the best for you, your family, and obviously for your son. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. When we come back, we'll bring in our think tank and get their take on this case that really unthinkable what happened to this young man. We'll be back.